So Andrew, once again, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Yussif.
Yep. Now, I want us to look at who in the workplace, among the workforce, at this time are considered vulnerable and has to be given extra attention.
Well, Yussif, you rightly said the workforce of the organization is the most valuable asset, and with COVID around, we wouldn't want to lose any staff member to COVID. Within the workforce, there are some staff who are more vulnerable to catching COVID than others. The elderly is one group. People with underlying conditions, health conditions, such as people with high blood pressure,
so chronic
illnesses,
okay,
are more vulnerable. And then the last group, it's those with compromised immune systems. So having looked at these three different groups, you wouldn't want to treat them the same as those who are not different from this group. You would have to treat each group differently because each group comes with its own needs. Yeah.
Okay. Would you also recommend that we go beyond the employees themselves and look at maybe their living conditions? So I have an elderly father or mother I live with. Would you put these guys also under the most vulnerable group?
Yes, people living with the elderly, people living with other people who fall under these three groups should also be treated just like, because you wouldn't want somebody coming into the workspace, being exposed to COVID, taking it home and infecting
a vulnerable individual back at home.
Yeah, okay. Back at home. All right. So you would have to do that. Yeah.
Now, COVID has caused a lot of both physical and mental stress of employees. In going back to work, what can be done to support the mental and physical well-being of the employees in these times of COVID?
That is what makes the work of the facility manager a very difficult one. You have diverse, group of people that you are taking care of, so to speak, and you need to provide support to these people to ensure that they work in a very conducive environment. So you would have to have provision for those who would want to work at home.
Okay.
Yes, if they would want to work at home because of one reason or the other.
Okay, so particularly they are among the vulnerable
groups, and they wouldn't want to be exposed. Then you would have to give them the support they will need
to work from
home.
Okay.
Sometimes employees do not come out to tell you the kind of conditions that they are suffering from. So that's where the collaboration between the HR department and the facility manager comes in. Confidentiality issues.
Let me just jump in on that. I think one of the things that can be done to identify these issues is to have health fairs and screening for employees during these times, so that you can identify who has what issues without them necessarily, giving you that information.
If they are not willing to give the information to, let's say, the HR department when they are filling forms or whatever, then they will not also, because you cannot say that per the outcome of a screening, I've realized that person A has a chronic illness, so I'm forcing him or her to work from home.
So it has to be out of their own free will.
Free will.
Okay.
Because if you push them, then that's forcing them against their will, and that will make them less productive. Yes.
Okay. Right.
So having identified the various groups, you allow some flexibility. if they come to you or they come up and say that, hey, I would want to work from home, you discuss the issue with HR, and once HR gives you the approval, you make sure you give them the needed support that they must have to be able to be productive.
Okay. So any other additions apart from
yes, so
you just mentioned?
Apart from those who would opt to work from home, I think the organization would have to look at the job function of each and every individual. If they can be able to work productively from home, then they should be advised, or there should be a recommendation that they stay home and then work from home. I mean, the importance of doing this exercise is to limit the number of people coming to the workplace to congregate. You get it?
Yeah.
So as to cut the spread of the virus.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's also one aspect of it. Yeah, limit the exposure to the work place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you also suggest that, for instance, employee-assisted programs look at issues of transportation to and from work? Now, we don't encourage people to use the public transport. So, if the organization has the ability to organize some transportation system for workers who cannot, who don't have their own private vehicles to commute to work, would you suggest that the organization should also look at transportation support for employees?
Yes, and honestly, some organizations have started doing that, busing staff from home to the workplace, and then from the workplace back to home.
Okay.
They do this because they do not want, that interaction between staff members and the general
public.
Yeah, so that helps. I mean, now, earlier on we had commercial vehicles taking 3 passengers instead of, and now we're back to 2. And if you observe what is going on, in the city, it looks like we have let our guards down, and that's very, very dangerous because people do not wear masks in public places. Some of them wear it under their chin and stuff like that. Chin mask instead of nose or face mask. Yeah. So as FM, we need to ensure that we continually, drum the message into the ears of our staff members, because we shouldn't forget, some institutions have had to close down because of some incidents at their workplace. So for the FM, if you happen to have an incident, a COVID case in your establishment, and you have to close down, that is loss of productive hours, which goes into loss of revenue. Yeah. So it's very, very important that we do all that we can to make sure our environments, our institutions are COVID free. Okay. Yeah. The last point I would like to add is for the FM to stay up to date with recommendations from the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, the Ministry of Health, and then the Ghana Health Service. Okay. As we discussed from the beginning, the pandemic, it's going through phases. It evolves. It's evolving. So at every point in time, you need to stay abreast with the latest information and update, so you can review your pandemic plan for your organization.
Would you also add that employees should have the opportunity, they should be given clear instructions as to if they are overwhelmed, if they're going through any level of stress, there should be a channel that they can contact for counseling and advice sessions? Because, mind you, we are looking at this from the physical side of things, but emotionally, a lot of us are going through some emotional stress that, if we are not careful, even after COVID, we'll have serious mental issues.
some organizations have gone to the extent of hiring clinical counselors or clinical psychologists.
Okay.
Yes, to handle with the emotional aspects of the employees, the COVID situation. Let me put it that way. Yes, and it's sometimes some people do not understand. But if you are providing if you are providing support for staff, it should be all phases of support, be it physical, be it mental, be it emotional, psychological, to ensure that the employee is well-rounded, complete, whole, to be able to give off their best.
So whole wellness, they are completely
that is it.
Well, in all aspects.
All aspects.
Even financially.
Financially, yes. I mean, where some people have had to receive pay cuts. Yeah, there's been that psyching of the mind to let you know that these are the financial situation of the organization. At this point, we would have to do this to keep alive. And once things get back, we'll restore everybody back to their. It's very, very important.
Okay.
Very, very important.
Okay. So what happens if an employee develops the symptoms whilst at the workplace?
The first advice I would give is that the other staff members should not panic. They should remain calm. Okay. Now after that, because when you're not calm, you can't think straight.
Right.
Yeah. When you're calm, you think straight, and you are able to follow the guidelines per the government of Ghana or the Ministry of Health.
That's right.
Yeah. Guidelines. You're able to follow it. So first, you isolate the person.
Okay.
Whether they will test positive or not.
All right.
You disinfect the area, and then if the situation becomes critical, then you call for
the emergency
services
medical service
to come take them away. But if it's just the symptoms, headache and high temperature, you can ask them to
go home and continue to
isolate and observe. And but you just don't leave them.
You follow up.
Continued support.
Yeah.
You check on them to find out how they are doing.
Okay.
And any assistance that they need, you make sure you provide them with one. Yeah. And then if it happens that it becomes critical and they go to the medical center and they are tested
and it's confirmed,
it's confirmed that they have COVID, they should not be stigmatized. Because
very, very
important. I mean, COVID, anybody at all can
catch it.
Yes. So they should not be stigmatized. Once they are treated and discharged with a medical certificate to show that they've been discharged, they are welcome they should be welcome back into the workforce. The workforce. Okay. It's very important. The stigmatization is what is preventing people from coming out with information. Somebody may not be feeling well and realize that they are showing symptoms of COVID, but because they are afraid they will be stigmatized,
they don't want to disclose that information for action to be taken.
Yes, and until it gets to the
critical stage,
then that's when,
Excellent. So, Andy, give us your final thoughts on this topic.
Yes, the little I've got to say first is to the leaders of the various organizations. We are all in this together, and we need their support. When I say support, like we have discussed in the various episodes, we need resources,
financial
resources, human resources, to be able to fight this pandemic and win. So we need their commitment. For the various FMs, please be open to suggestions. and take it easy on the employees. I mean, so some may be able to handle this whole thing very well. Others may not be able to handle it. Let's make room for almost everybody, every employee at our workspaces. And then to the employees, it is for our own health and safety. That's why we are committing resources, both human and financial, in implementing some of the procedures. Some of them may not be nice, so to speak, but we should all give our best and try as much as possible to follow these protocols. And at the end of the day, I'm sure we'll be the winners.
Okay, so if I follow you, just to recap what you have said, yes, we should all expect some modifications and changes.
Definitely.
And we should keep an open mind, and be accepting of whatever changes we see happening at the workplace, because it's for our own benefits and the benefits of the entire organization, so that eventually we can kick COVID out of the system.
That is it.
So Andy, it's been an awesome experience having you on the Workplace Wellness series. Indeed, you have represented IFMA remarkably, and we are so grateful to you and to the board of IFMA Ghana for honoring our invitation to be on the show. We are grateful, and we hope that in the future you be gracious enough to come back to us anytime we need your input. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Yussif, and it's been a pleasure, being part of this season. IFMA Ghana chapter is there. Anytime you call on us, we'll come share and learn also from you. It's been a two-way that we've had this interaction, and it's been beneficial, mutually beneficial to the two of us. So we're just moving facility management forward in the country.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Charlie, well, thank you. Now we cannot shake, but we can do the elbow too.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, viewers, all too soon we have come to the end of another season, and I want to take this opportunity to appreciate you for your time, for staying with us. We hope the discussions have been of some benefit to you in your plans to return your employees to work. Please, as mentioned, if you need further information on your plans to get back to work, you can contact IFMA Ghana, and they will be ready to give out whatever information to help you ensure that your employees are safe and your workplace is not a safe haven for COVID-19. My name is Yussif Salford, and I thank you for your time. I'll see you next season, and until then, please, as always, remember to keep a physical distance, but also stay socially connected.